Welcome to Architects of Opportunities, a series on founders of nonprofit organizations. We will look at how one person or a few people saw a need in your community and found a way to fill it. Who are the people that are inspired to see a need and bring others together to lend a hand, and not for profit? They are the nonprofit founders. Founders are everyday heroes. They envision possibility and persevere to accomplish it. Founders in all sectors and across the country share a common vision. They want to make a difference. Today, we will introduce you to one organization who makes a contribution to your community.
Before there was the Buck Trust, which is hard for anybody to realize there was a time before that. There were 76 nonprofits in Marin County.
Before the Buck Trust came, this process annually to lobby, if you will, for that funding, at the end of that process, we would have what we called the fiscal follies. And then we'd have a big party. And Gary came to that party. And we would do singing and dancing, and it was quite an event. And we did that for a number of years until the Buck money came. And those were mostly health and human service organizations. But I remember one of my first meetings with the Marin Council of Agencies was during that process. And we were in one of the schoolrooms. There was a blackboard up in front, and everybody went up and on the blackboard put down how much money they wanted out of this process, out of this $1 million. And it would all add up to more over $1 million, right? And so it was like a come to Jesus meeting, I should say. But anyway, people would walk up and they'd erase their number and lower it a little bit. And then someone else would walk up and, erase their number and lower it a little bit till finally they cooperated, and these are all agencies competing for the same dollars, and they ultimately would go in with a package of not in excess of what the supervisors were able to allocate. And it really was the backbone of the Marin Council of Agencies. Well, it was early collaboration, and then they felt very good about it.
And I want to introduce you to our viewers, and this is Kathy Cuneo, Nona Dennis, and Phyllis Faber, all founding teachers of the Environmental Forum of Marin. And we hardly could stop the stories from flowing, so let it begin.
I think yours is really a first one.
Well, the thing that I remember is that Marty Griffin was had founded Audubon Canyon Ranch, and he had a marvelous naturalist out there, Zumi, Clarence Zumwalt. The group of us and Ray Peterson and Rebby Kingsley and Dave Cavaniero was part of that group at that time. That was the first group that started teaching in the Environmental Forum, and so we were paid to. We worked out the program, and then we were each paid something, not much, but something, for the first 3 years. And then from then on, for the next 40 years, it has been a volunteer effort of forum members, graduates of the forum, that have kept the forum going, which I think really has to be put into the category of being something of a miracle.
Saw the beauty of the county for the first time, really, when I was 14, as we hiked over the ridges of Mount Tamalpais, which is right down there, I can't let myself get out of the sight of Mount Tamalpais. I saw for the first time the white birds floating on Bolinas Lagoon, and it so captured my imagination that I determined that I would come back when I was older and try and protect them, because I could see two burning garbage.
And what Marty really wanted was to get 3 votes out of 5 at the Board of Supervisors. I think he's used that before, that sort of that metaphor, that idea. And what he wanted were citizens who were educated in environmental issues, who could go and advocate for the environment, because he couldn't do it alone. He couldn't do it with a handful of people.
But anyway, we wanted people to know how the county worked. Mm-hmm. And if you understand how your county works, what it's all about, then you can provide your own skills to augment what the needs are in the county. And so it has worked amazingly well. We have had some enormously successful, I guess our prize student is Barbara Boxer. She was one of the early forum members and went on to become a United States Senator.
When you stand up there and you fight to make sure there's a strong middle class, and you protect a woman's right to choose, and you fight for jobs and a clean environment, all those things, human rights, civil rights, that's a fight worth making. Thanks very much for coming.
Thank you.
Joan, I'm just so excited about what you've been doing with our community for the last decades, and you've brought people together to more than just deliver soup to a neighbor, but to come in and really put in their hours and their time and help the county deliver the services they do. Can you tell us a little bit about how you started it and what was your thought?
Sure. It was at a time when people were very strongly against county government. Proposition 13 had just passed, and the county was in a state of feeling like they had to really cut services. Well, it was a very dicey proposition because it was a time when people were really anti-local government. It was a time just as the women's lib movement was beginning to rise and gain strength. And when I mentioned to one of my friends that I was thinking about doing this, she said, "I don't want to volunteer, I want a real job." So that was kind of my market research. And so I decided that really we could provide a real opportunity for reentry women to update their skills, to update their resume, to gain confidence in going back into the workforce. And so that was my first kind of target market.
Having been a volunteer, it's very rewarding, not only the work that you do. I would leave always, and you feel like you've really done something, you've done something great. And Joan especially was amazing at making people feel they were really, really valued. And that's the key to making it, people want to keep on doing it.
We have such a breadth of potential opportunities, and we can really valuably have the participation of people doing, grounds work and clerical and legal research and advocating for kids in court and, engineering, and, it's a wonderful kind of smorgasbord of opportunities. And because we had that size and that breadth of opportunity, I think we were able to really build wonderful relationships with volunteers that other organizations don't have that flexibility to do. So,
in 1919, when they did the first community house that was in that abandoned storefront, they looked right away to find something a little bit bigger. I think partly because theater and the arts are civilizing. Nevada was a rural farming community, but to have a central place where the arts were being presented, it's a reason to get dressed up on Friday night and go do something.
96 years, you have kept this going, kept it alive from the time Mrs. White had that vision of a community playhouse. I think, did you mention, Sandy, that Novato is wanting to honor Novato Theater Company?
Recognizing it and putting it in the charter. Wonderful. Yeah, at the 100th anniversary and the 50th anniversary of both the City of Novato and the Chamber of Commerce. This year, Novato Theater Company was recognized as one of the oldest nonprofits and founding organizations here.
And we're getting crowds, we're getting overflow audiences very often, not all the time, but very often we do. And the groundswell of enthusiasm among the community and among the acting community who want to be in this Novato Theater Company, I think says a great deal about the great progress that this company has had.
The fact that this is an all-volunteer organization is tremendous, and so in the community, Novato Theater Company, we're so friendly. You come here, and that's what we're really known, is how nice everyone is, how welcome people feel.
Hi, welcome. Thank you so much for having us over to your place, and we're very excited to be here and want the whole world to know about what you do. So we're going to start by introducing you, Mia, and Jerry, and you have two organizations that we can talk about, but why don't we first just jump into what you were doing and what made you think to start a nonprofit?
It probably started with the farm, which started with an idea. And Jerry studied conservation of natural resources at Berkeley, and he just wanted to do some organic farming. And then there was a lot of produce, and people wanted to share it, and that grew into a membership.
So you started out here in San Anselmo,
Correct.
Where your farm was. It's called the Draper
Farms.
Draper Farms,
Right.
and
Draper Farms is an organic farm. We've been here 21 years. We grow food for restaurants and caterers.
so you don't probably have a lot of spare time to advocate for that, right? How do you get the word out?
Lottie Morse, who worked on the pollen project, she went around to all the nurseries and asked each and every one if they had neonicotinoid soaked plants. And at that time, one, the Ace Hardware next to the Civic Center, said, I had no idea. We'll stop right away. We'll label everything. And not only that, but we'll have a plant sale to benefit what you're doing. And the rest of all the rest of the nurseries said, well, we can't guarantee and so forth. But there's a sea change going on among the nurseries where they're taking another look at that and making decisions not to have neonicotinoid soaked plants.
There is more interest, though, right, in having hives and being trained in it. I see classes all over.
What happened about maybe 5 or 6 years ago, the so-called colony collapse disorder, where bees were disappearing from the commercial colonies, that stimulated an enormous influx of people interested in bees. And all across the country, bee clubs went from 10 or 15 members to 200 or 300 members. People started keeping bees. They started putting bees in their backyard. They found out it was illegal to keep bees in their backyard. It was illegal to keep bees in New York. You couldn't keep poisonous snakes, lions, tigers, and honeybees. And in Marin, the bee club went from 15 or 17 members to over 300 members. We regularly get 75 to 100 or more members to our monthly meetings, where we're bringing in researchers who are doing the real work and coming and out and talking to people. And that has made a huge difference. And what we hope to do with Superorganism is, since our mission is sustainable agriculture, is to be available and show that all the techniques that we're using, that's how we learn. So we found that other organic farmers in Marin are not stingy with information. They are so willing to help teach you how they're growing beautiful food. They want to share that, and we want to share that. So one of the purposes of our nonprofit Superorganism is to do that.